Hi folks, hope you well. So this video, yeah, as soon as I got the title for this video, I knew this was going to be quite controversial. And I got this title a lot earlier today, and I just went back to God and said, do you really want me to do this subject? Because you know how it's going to be received. And, yeah, okay. So the title of this video is going to be Sin is Good for You. In a way. Because, the reason why sin is good for you in a way is because if we're people that can learn from mistakes, sins are mistakes. They're things that we do that hurt others. Okay, we all hurt others. In life, we're all going to hurt others in life to a certain degree, aren't we? But if we can learn from it, that's good because we grow. As we learn, we grow. So therefore, growing is very important, and it's often because of our sins that we grow, don't we? Yeah, those sins that so easily beset us, we grow as we learn how to deal with those things, don't we? So therefore, sin isn't terribly bad. Sin is a tool that God will use. Sins. He will use other people's sins against us to teach us things. To help us to go through things that we need to go through. Well, for example, he used the sins of the people upstairs, the neighbours I had there. He used the sin of the next door neighbour's boyfriend keying my car, or every car I had. He used those. Right? He used the sin of churches blocking me from their church. And, is that a sin? Yes, it is. That would be a sin, yes. Yeah. Well, because there's judgment and there's condemnation in that. So therefore, yes, that would definitely be a sin. I say God uses these things to help. Yeah, the church giving itself to the devil, is that a sin? Probably. And again, that's okay because that's where we are right now and we can learn from that, can't we? Because we understand. I was popped into the community church of Rick just to say hello because I saw some people standing there, the greeting people. So I went in and spoke to one of the people who greets and, stuff like that. He lives just up near me. And I've seen him a few times. And I just shared with him about the fact that, okay, no, I will not be partaking in what they do anymore. But also the reality is that I've done my job with regards to the pastor. I told the pastor that he had to go to God, and he had to tell Kylie Bevan to go to God. About asking for me to be banned and banning me from church, from the services, the worship and all that. Because condemnation and judgment is involved in that. And Luke 6:37 says, if you judge, you'll be judged. If you condemn, you'll be condemned. If you do not forgive, you will not be forgiven. I said, what? I said, come on. I said, the Bible even talks about, if someone sins against you, you're supposed to go to that person and talk to them about it. And if they do not accept that what they've done is wrong, then you go with another to talk to that person. If they still don't accept, then you go to the church. How did they do it? How did she do it? Did she come to me at any point in time? No. She went straight to the pastor and asked the pastor to ban me. Right? Well, there you go. Okay. Then I wish you well. I said the reality is, I said in what they've done, I said same as the River Church. I said the River Church, I said I met them. I said to the pastor, well, he was the associate pastor really. I said, Yeah, I said, you banned me from this church. She said, no, that was just a misunderstanding. You're not banned. I said, and the first Tuesday they have, just 3 days afterwards, I go in and they say, oh, sorry, I'm going to ask you to leave because you're banned. I said, no. I said, the pastor said I'm not. He said, well, no, the pastor says you actually are. I said, not only has he done that, but he also lied about it because he was in public. Yeah, he lied about it. Because rather than actually speak truth and try and back what he did, he lied about it. Because he's also a coward. Well, that's true, he is. But I say, does it matter? No. No, not really. It's irrelevant. He can be that if he wishes. There's no other reason why he wouldn't actually admit it and speak about it in public. Because, did he think it was a misunderstanding? If he says to me, unless you can promise to try not to offend people, we will ban you from all of our things, including this coffee morning and anything else we do. And then I say, sorry, I can't do that. And then he says, oh, that was just a misunderstanding. A few years later, no, it wasn't. It wasn't. And I saw him and Jeff Oakes at the Soul Food. And they never come over and spoke to me. No. They avoided me, so therefore, of course I was banned. It may have been them who asked the chap who does it to ban me from that. Because they count that as one of their events. Well, because they have given money towards the soul food. So because they give him money, they can tell him who can go there and who cannot. And yet he says, the person who does it, that it's open to everyone. Well, is it? No. No. But as I say, doesn't matter. The reality, all of this doesn't matter at all. But again, as I say, the point of this video is to talk about sin. Yes, all these things are sin. But sin can be helpful. Sin can tell you where things are. Sin can help you to deal with whatever that thing is. And so that's good. So therefore, through their sin, my relationship with God improved. Through their sin, because I was forced to only go to God. So let's not think that sin is completely and utterly demonic. God can use it. And God will use it. Because it's a tool that God will use and has used and will continue to use as we move forward. So understand that. Understand that yes, sin to a certain degree is a teaching aid that God uses in various ways. The sin in you and the sin in others. So in the end, sin can be useful and therefore sin can be good. So let's understand things as God sees it. No, as I say, sin is not something that separates us from God anymore. So therefore, let it go. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.